Ungrateful, deplorable conditions, or just an opportunity for far left activist attorneys to jump on regarding a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of the homeless here in San Diego, saying that the conditions of a safe sleeping site are untenable, inhabitable, and dangerous. We're going to get into that story and some more. But if you're a part of the 87% of people who have watched and are not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button if you like hearing about California politics and our take and quick updates on them. So let's get into our story right now.
A federal lawsuit has been filed over conditions at City of San Diego's sleeping sites. Now, some people living at the site say the conditions are filthy and that there is disability discrimination. And today, people gathered at Golden Hill Park to explain what they're going through and what they'd like to see done. NBC7's Calvin Henry has a look at what's ahead.
As you flip through this lawsuit, it has many claims now. It says the City of San Diego's safe sleeping sites are unlivable, that they're rat-infested, and that they discriminate against people with disabilities. Now, I spent my day pouring through the lawsuit, and I also spoke with someone who was named in this complaint, and she walks us through her experience.
The conditions are deplorable.
Laura Zaletta says the City of San Diego's safe sleeping program is far from safe.
There's no place to cool off. There's no place to stay hydrated.
Laura believes the conditions rise to the level of discrimination.
The food's terrible. The mice, my cat can't keep up with them. And for the ADAs, I really don't believe that the ADA had ever approved that for ADA people, because there's no way. There's 3 bathrooms for everybody with disabilities and 1 shower, and the shower was gone down 2 months, and I ended up with sores because of it.
The lawsuit names the City of San Diego, Dreams for Change, and Downtown Partnership on page 3 of the 49-page complaint, along with mentioning a rat infestation and lack of food. The lawsuit alleges the very placement of the tents at the site are a fire hazard and leaves the people living at risk of dangerous heat in the summer and flooding in the winter.
We need to right wrong or multiple wrongs.
Lead attorney Ann Menashe explains the goal of filing this lawsuit.
We're seeking injunctive relief, which means changing policy and monetary damages for the
When asked
Monetary damages to who, and monetary damages, any monetary gain for any of you as attorneys?
She did not specify a specific amount, but says it will take a significant amount of money to fix the alleged problems at the site. In the statement to NBC7, city staff say they have a contracted pest control vendor that provides service several times per month. They also say the city takes any claim of potential violations or unsafe conditions seriously, and the safety and well-being of people served through the safe sleeping program is their top priority. The attorneys are asking for a jury trial, and it remains to be seen how this all develops. But Laura says there needs to be change.
If we didn't wake up one day just wanting to, oh, we're going to be homeless today. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through.
Calvin Henry, NBC7.
City staff says the county does visit the site as part of their vector control program. They also say that the program provides meals, bathrooms, showers, and laundry facilities.
Now, obviously, my heart goes out to the people who are suffering from homelessness. It is a horrible tragedy here in California. It is a blight on California for us not being able, or at least our elected leaders not being able to figure out what to do about homelessness and how to solve the affordability crisis here in California. That's an issue that I'm going to get to in a little bit. If you're not familiar with this safe sleeping site here in San Diego, it's not in the best area. It's the best location. It is on a parking lot between 3 and the Navy Hospital. And once they put these tents on a parking lot, I think everybody who passed by had the realization that, yes, it's going to get hot, because like it is right now, it's getting up into the 80s. And when that sun is pouring down onto the pavement then becomes like a pan or an oven or something like that, and just starts to emanate heat all the way up through those tents. So obviously that makes it hard for people to live there or anything like that. And that becomes sort of an issue of the deplorable conditions that they are setting up for temporary housing. Now, I want to dive into the two attorneys who are taking this on. Now, Amaneshi is the first one who, and you saw her in that video. This is a picture of her at that actual press conference. Amaneshi is someone who is the co-founder of something called Feminist in Struggle, which is FIST for short. I don't know where they get the T from because it's Feminist in Struggle, but whatever. She also ran for Secretary of State back in 2010, where she got 286,000 votes, and she ran as a member of the Green Party. She is a open and avowed socialist. She's also been called out, even though she is a radical feminist, she's been called out, sort of like how J.K. Rowling's been called out for being what they call a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, basically saying you don't accept trans women into the feminist movement. That's a whole issue by itself. Just to give you an idea of what her organization FIST stands for, here is one of the principles that FIST stands for. We call for free childcare and paid parental leave and other community supports needed to end the double day and empower women to live independent lives. So basically, they want more government childcare and they want the government to be more involved, more socialist programs. Not surprising if you're an open and avowed socialist who ran for the Green Party. Another one that I found interesting is that they reject any alliances or collaboration with the religious right or the white supremacist anti-immigrant right. And then at the end it says, however, all patriarchal right-wing fundamentalist religions actively suppress the rights of women through their promotion of misogynist dogma and practices, their pursuit of a male supremacist anti-woman agenda, and their tolerance of violence and discrimination towards women and girls. Now, that's Amaneshi. She is one of the lead attorneys on this. She has been a civil rights lawyer here in San Diego. She takes up a lot of these cases. The other attorney who is involved in this is Genevieve Jones-Wright. Now, if you're San Diego and you recognize that name, well, it's because she's run before. Most notably, she ran in 2018 against the current district attorney, Summer Stefan, who is the current district attorney, and she lost in Trump's terms bigly. And what made this even more controversial is that she was backed by George Soros. Now, we all know George Soros has been funding PACs to support these far left district attorneys who are soft on crime all over the country. And thankfully, it has not really worked here in California. For some reason, I guess Californians just want more district attorneys to be tough on crime. They're recalling bad attorneys. They are putting in tough on crime attorneys. I mean, hell, they even appointed Nathan Hochman, who is a Republican or former Republican, as the district attorney of Los Angeles. So obviously not going in the right way for old George Soros. Soros poured $1.5 million into the California Justice and Public Safety PAC, which was established by Whitney Timas, a longtime Soros consultant, to bolster Jones-Wright. The Washington Free Beacon previously reported Jones-Wright, who claimed during the election that she has never met Soros, appeared at last fall's investment conference for the Democracy Alliance, a liberal dark money donor network co-founded by Soros. The conference took place at La Costa Resort, located just 30 minutes outside of San Diego. The Free Beacon was present at the resort and obtained documents that showed that Jones-Wright was on a panel co-hosted by the billionaire discussing district attorney efforts for 2018. So, backed by George Soros, lost by a lot, by 28 points, which is kind of a trumping or a thumping in electoral terms. She also tried to run for mayor of San Diego. She didn't get past the primary, so she didn't end up in the general election for that. So that's two failed political runs for Genevieve Jones-Wright. And now she's one of the attorneys on this homeless lawsuit. But even outside of these radical far left attorneys, I do want to bring up something that's probably the bigger question and concern here about this homeless lawsuit is obviously government incompetence. And I want to just take a quick look at this story from a year ago. State Audit flags issues with San Diego spending on homeless services. So this was about a little over a year ago, of April of 2024. So a new state audit into San Diego's efforts to combat homelessness, released on Tuesday, found the city has fallen short in key areas of its response despite significant investments in recent years. In San Diego, the auditor identified issues with officials' ability to monitor the effectiveness of their spending to help unhoused residents due to the absence of a cohesive tracking system that could be used to see how much money is put towards services across departments. On top of that, the auditor flagged how San Diego does not have a, quote, clear long-term plan to ensure there is enough permanent housing to move unhoused people out of temporary housing, kind of like the safe sleeping accommodations that are similarly in short supply. The audit used one $1.6 million contract between San Diego and a nonprofit for interim housing and services as an example, as it did not outline how many people city officials expect the provider to serve. It also did not have a set target for shelter occupancy on the contract. So over a year ago, they saw that there was going to be an issue with the spending and the fact of where all this money is going. So I'm sure there are people who fall on both sides of this issue. One, that maybe some people think that the homeless are being ungrateful for the fact that, yes, we're building these temporary tents. They are not supposed to be permanent housing. You're not supposed to stay there forever. It's a way to get you off the street in at least these tents where you can have some food, some water, some places to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's people who believe that's ungrateful. There are also people who probably look at this and go, yeah, that's deplorable. And on a hot day like today, I'm sure it gets unbearable to live in a tent in a parking lot and also to deal with rats and rodents and dilapidated services and stuff like that. And then in regards to these attorneys who are taking on cases like that, this is a federal lawsuit, and I would probably guess that under U.S. Code Title 42, 1983, which is the code section, which is when you file a lawsuit to enforce civil rights, you do get attorney's fees, which I'm sure every civil rights attorney by now knows, and that she probably put in her lawsuit to make sure she gets her attorney's fees. Also, when you file for American Disabilities Act or any claim related to that, you're going to get your attorney's fees. So yes, you're probably going to get your attorney's fees, and these attorneys will be paid out by the city if they end up settling or winning, if the attorneys end up winning this case, and it'll be paid for with our tax dollars. But it all comes back to one big thing. This big mess would not have happened if it not for the fact that our government, local all the way up to state, have been grossly incompetent with how they spend money and tax dollars on solving the homelessness issue. And it looks like this was coming from a mile away. People are not paying attention to anything of what's going on, where the money is going, how the services are being provided. They just throw more money at the situation and they hope that it goes away. And they just hope that if they contract out to all these private contractors and these nonprofits, that sooner or later it'll go away. They can go take a photo op with it one way or another. But I think that's the moral of this story, is that we would not be here where we need to file federal lawsuits about the conditions of temporary housing for homeless, if not for the fact that our city governments, our local governments, our county government actually knew what they were doing with our tax dollars and stopped just wasting them on homelessness when they don't know what they're doing with that money. And just to put a number on it, since 2020, the city of San Diego and the county collectively have spent around $1.2 to $1.5 billion. That's billion with a B, on homelessness. So in 5 years, they've spent about $1.2 to $1.5 billion on homelessness. And again, where is this money going? How are these services being provided? And are these contracts guaranteed? Do they just keep getting these money? The question just gets deeper and deeper of how deep the homeless industrial complex goes here in California. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that this is a case where homeless are being ungrateful in San Diego, where they don't appreciate what is being given to them in terms of temporary housing? Do you think there are really serious issues that need to be addressed here? Do you think that this is just an opportunity for these far left activist attorneys to jump on? Let me know your thoughts. There's a lot to unpack here, but make sure you like, share, subscribe, review. If you enjoy this type of political commentary on what's going on in California politics, make sure you do all of that, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.